Connor, what's the deal with Christmas movies?
I know. Tell me about it. This is like
Do
the
you do you like? I need to ask you this. Like, do you feel ashamed when there is like a Christmas movie, and it's not the Christmas time, and you want to watch it?
yeah.
Have that ever happened to you?
That this is the thing. I don't actually think that I've ever wanted to watch a Christmas movie outside of Christmas, with the exception of movies that are set at Christmas, which are not Christmas movies. So it's a little bit like the debate that we had with horror movies versus Halloween movies, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is a horror movie, and when does a horror movie become a Halloween movie? And there is an element of that to Christmas movies as well. But I feel like
It's so
Christmas
complicated.
I feel like Christmas movies though are much more open with their what they're trying to be. So when it wants to be a Christmas movie, it very openly is a Christmas movie. But then you have some movies which have kind of passed into the realm of being a Christmas movie, but yet is not a Christmas movie. Some of them we'll probably talk about. Some of them we won't, but very famous for this is Shane Black, of course, right? So I mean, like Lethal Weapon. I want to say Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is as well. The Nice Guys, Iron Man 3. All of these movies.
Classic Christmas movie.
Honestly, though, all of these movies are set at Christmas. They all have like Christmas themes to them, but none of them are Christmas movies and don't get regarded as Christmas movies. Which is interesting because I feel like many of them probably in some way could be a Christmas movie. Then to complicate things somewhat further, and we're not going to do this today, but there are also Christmas movies which are completely nothing to do with Christmas. But because they are often or were often played at that time of the year, they hold a sort of Christmas special place in a lot of people's hearts. Star Wars in the US is very famous for this because it used to play on like kind of like Christmas Day, Boxing Day, that sort of like, over the course of those few days, it used to play on TV, and that's when many kids were first exposed to Star Wars. In here, like in the UK, I think that you get, I would say that Harry Potter is like that for a lot of people. Lord of the Rings, even to some extent, is also somewhat of a Christmas movie. At least I found in my circles, a lot of my friends seem to like to watch Lord of the Rings around Christmas time.
But the last three films, Star Wars, the last three films, they were actually premiered just around Christmas time in cinemas.
Yeah.
And I remember going to watch we had a discussion last year when we went to the cinema to watch it just before Christmas, the Rise of Skywalker, and then the previous films as well. So yeah, that there is something about it, absolutely. Yeah.
No, we're not doing that today. We are kind of going and targeting like Christmas movies, like movies that are
really okay. I need to change my list there.
Well, yeah, there may be one or two surprises in there, but for the most part, when I built my list, I tried to keep it as focused on like what I feel an absolute Christmas movie, where it's Christmas themed. Christmas is the point of it. The music is like Christmas like. And it would play at Christmas time and really only at Christmas time. That's how I've decided to build my list for today. You, being the rogue that you are, may have chosen to go off and do something else entirely. But like I said, like I'm fully expecting, some like some like, I don't know, like black and white, R-rated or like 18 rated.
No.
Christmas
Conor,
movie.
I think I have a film that probably somewhere on my kind of B list, because I was kind of expecting that you might have the same films as I do, and that would be awkward. So I prepared my kind of B list, and I got maybe a film or two over there that you probably never heard of, but this is the B list. We'll see how this goes, and I will actually flag up if you say already I have this film, or I have this film. You probably have maybe like a substitute there somewhere.
Yeah.
Just to have 10 different films, that would be interesting. We did not consult our list before the show.
We kept them secret.
But I think this discussion is, kind of interesting, but also, you can be very purist and say, oh, this movie is not a Christmas movie. But if people watch it during Christmas. You know, like they love it, and there is some Christmas theme around it. You know, you can't argue millions of people. You know, they are some probably right or
Millions
maybe
of our
wrong.
listeners. Millions of our listeners. Okay, well, let's get started.
You ready?
I was born ready.
Ho, 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 and welcome to the Blockbusters, a podcast about wonderful world of Christmas movies. Yes, today this is a Christmas special of the Blockbusters podcast with myself, Rado, and with Conor Boyle, dressed all in red. Ho, 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 Conor.
Hello. It's all blood, Rado. That's what it is. Yeah.
This is the type of movie you're gonna be recommending to our listeners. Great.
Now I've got a machine gun.
So we've decided to do this special episode. It's gonna be, different than the normal episodes we do. Very similar to the one we did around Halloween movies. So each of us has a list of 5 movies we kind of think are the ultimate Christmas experience. And we will be kind of saying one by one our choices. There is a big chance that one of us has the same title and on the list. So we do have some substitute titles, and we're going to replace them. So if for example, I say, title X is on my list, and Conor have to say, okay, I have it, so I'm going to replace it with. And he can shift up and down. Whatever he wants to do, he can move this film up or down. Doesn't matter. Now, the other rule is we're not going to spend talking too much about it. First of all, we want to be essentially taking care of your sanity. So there's not going to be 3-hour episodes about Christmas movies. I think there are better things to do than listen to us for 3 hours. But we're probably going to spend about 5 minutes on each film, tops.
Yeah, maximum 5 minutes on each movie. So if you are putting it in, you have to kind of plead your case why you think it is deserved to be in that kind of top 5 position.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. So are we doing paper, rock, scissors? Who's going to start?
We should have looked up who went first actually the last time round. So we should have. Okay, let's do digital rock, paper, scissors then, I guess.
3, 2, 1. Okay, that's scissors. 3, 2, 1. Tick. I've got scissors, paper. Conor's got paper.
Great for.
I can choose. I can choose whether I want to go first or whether I want to maybe go last. Okay. I'm gonna go first.
Okay.
Actually.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna start with my ultimate Christmas movie number 5. I think the numbers over here, when I look at them, they are kind of like, okay, they're there because they're numbers. But I probably can put this movie as number 1 or also number 2. But this is number 5, and I'm gonna open with a very strong title. In Poland, known as Kevin Home Alone. In the UK and in the US and everywhere around the world, I think it's just known as Home Alone. And this is Christopher Columbus' 1990 film with Macaulay Culkin. Do you have this movie on your list?
Yeah, I did. I'm not going to say where it was yet, but I'll have to now start shuffling things around a little bit already here. I can't believe this is number 5. What?
Where are you going? We're gonna miss the plane!
When the McAllister family left on their Christmas vacation,
Did we miss the plane? No, you just made it. Yeah!
they forgot one small thing.
Have yourself
I have a terrible feeling. Did you lock up?
let yourself be light.
Do we set the timers on the lights?
What else could we be forgetting?
Our troubles will be ours.
Kevin!
Home Alone.
Police in the northern suburbs are on the lookout for a pair of burglars who are calling themselves the Wet Bandits.
We know that you're in there.
It's Santa Claus and his elf.
Get off my property. This is my house. I have to defend it.
Where's your mother?
My mom's in the car.
Where's your father?
He's at work.
What about your brothers and sisters?
I'm an only child.
Where do you live?
Can't tell you that.
Why not?
Because you're a stranger.
He's a kid. I mean, what can a kid do to us?
Kids are stupid. I know I was.
You still are, Marv.
This is it.
Yeah, I'll tell you why this is my number 5, okay? So you mentioned, every year people would watch, let's say, Star Wars over Christmas and, like typical movies. In Poland, since probably 1991 or 1992, one TV channel, one specific TV channel is showing this movie on Christmas Eve. And one year, they decided not to show this movie. You know what happened in Poland? There was a big uprising of like people sending messages, calling newspapers, calling radios. Like, why are they not showing this movie? Because this channel has always been showing it since 1992. Every single year, this movie was shown during Christmas. So my reason behind this movie, why is it number 5? Because it's an ultimately great comedy set during Christmas, about Christmas, with Christmas spirit, but also a little bit mean-spirited at some points. But I am fed up with this movie. I don't want to watch it again.
Oh my God.
I've seen this every single year and on Polish channels with the voiceover dubbed and whatever. I've probably never seen it in the original, so maybe I need to catch up, like just hear the original voices. But this movie, I don't know. First of all, I don't imagine, like a Polish Christmas time without this movie. But on the other hand, I really don't want to watch that film. And I think there was everything that about this movie that was said has been said. And I don't want to be, talking about, oh, this isn't great. But I've found really one interesting fact about this. So Chris Columbus, that then directed Harry Potter movies, right? So it was the first or a second one. He was working with the guy who directed another very famous movie. And he was meant to actually direct a film called National Lampoon's Holiday. He because he was meant to work with Chevy Chase, and Chevy Chase is a strong character, to be honest. He said he's not gonna actually work with him because they are two different characters. And he asked John Hughes, who was writing the National Lampoon, whether there's another project, and another project was the Home Alone film. What did you want to say about this film, Connor? Because I'm sure you have plenty to say about this.
Yeah, I'm still stunned that you put this at number 5. Like, I'm stunned.
Yeah, I wanted to surprise you. I wanted to
frankly
surprise you.
Disgusted. Out of all of the Christmas movies, like Home Alone is like one of the best. For a whole host of reasons. Like, I think it sets up that like idyllic sort of Christmas, like the sort of like the big house with the big tree and the big family and the really nice neighborhood, and it's snowing outside, and it has a brilliant soundtrack, an absolutely incredible soundtrack to this movie. Like I would argue that it's
by John Williams.
Yeah, I would argue that its soundtrack is like Christmas worthy of its own, like can just be played. Like if you're looking to play Christmas music in your house, I feel like you could put the Home Alone soundtrack on and you're gonna get that vibe and that feeling from it. Then you have the performances, like a young Macaulay Culkin is just absolutely killing it, and then you have Joe Pesci of all people. Joe Pesci comes in there and he is just a criminal and part of the Wet Bandits. Oh my God! Just so like I can honestly 5 minutes is not enough justice. You've took up most of them telling me all of your nonsense about it, and it's all gone now. So that's 5 minutes up. But Home Alone deserves better than this.
It is on our list, Connor. It's a beautiful list made by you and me. Okay, I want to hear your kind of number 5.
Okay,
like I said,
yeah,
it's a number 5. Yeah,
I'm doing some
shuffling.
I'm doing some shuffling for mine now. Because Home Alone was in my top 5 and much higher than that. So I am going to replace it with one that was just sitting outside it, which is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Okay. I need to replace a movie now.
Yes,
I told you our list is almost exactly the same. So far.
Another John. It was John Hughes produced this time. And he wrote it as well, actually. Yeah. So, this one here I actually did not see until I was a little bit older. Like Home Alone, like much like yourself, I seen it super young. Because it came out the year after I was born, so. I probably seen it first when I was maybe 3 or 4, and then it was just always repeated after that. But National Lampoons, I don't think I seen it until maybe I was maybe 15 or so before I eventually got to see it. And I just loved it so much because it is Chevy Chase's like plight in it. Like it feels like it feels like myself a lot of the time, where it's like you become so obsessed with doing something that you're completely ruining everything else around you because you're obsessed with getting this one thing working, right? So it puts me in mind even to like recently when I like when I was making pizzas. And we had like some friends over, and we're like, we were having a pizza party outside, and it was like one of the first times I had got my pizza oven, and trying to kind of do pizzas for like 5 or 6 people for the first time when you hadn't really ever used this pizza oven before, but you become so fixated on creating like the perfect pizza and it's not going right, and you're getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And like I find that happens to me so much in life. So when I first seen this, I just related to it so much that it just had that like it just something with it just triggered or connected with me perfectly. So it did, and I was like, oh, this is fantastic. And even the way it opens with him driving in the car, and you immediately get that like the ludicrousness of the whole thing where he accidentally like drives under the truck. If you remember that, the kind of one of the opening.
I watched it recently.
And it's so good. It's so good, and
so amazing.
It didn't make my top 5 initially, actually, just because I didn't see it until I was older, so it doesn't hold that sort of like special place for me that many of the others do. But I've shuffled it in and taken its place now.
Absolutely. I think this movie is just fantastic. I rewatching it recently, you could see every gag come in and it's extremely funny. This movie is great. I recommend it to anyone just to watch it if you've not seen National Lampoon's Winter Holiday, or was it Christmas Vacation, depending where you are.
Christmas Vacation.
Think Christmas Vacation. And this was released in 1989 in the US. It's a short and sweet film. It's about hour and a half. It's great.
I
Cool.
really like Christmas Vacation, and I haven't even seen many of the other National Lampoon's movies, despite really enjoying this. And I have to say, it struck me as so alarming one of the first times that I seen it, how much Chevy Chase was kind of like Will Ferrell before Will Ferrell was Will Ferrell. There's just something about them. It's that like the big, tall, like kind of all-American, really goofy sort of thing that they've got going on, where he feels a little bit more serious than Will Ferrell does, that's for sure. Will Ferrell gets absolutely ridiculous, as we know. But there's definitely there's such a line that you can draw between them, or on parallels between them. So my number 5, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Great, let's move on. Number 4 on my list is 2004, a movie directed by Terry Zwigoff. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Bad Santa.
Oh, I knew this was going to be on your list. I seen it last night, and I was like, Rado is definitely putting Bad Santa on his list.
Yeah, this is the movie with Billy Bob Thornton playing Santa that's fueled with alcohol, drugs, and a little bit of sex. I think typical Christmas movie would never had any of those things. You obviously get a bit of that in like National Lampoons. Like Chevy Chase is a family man, obviously, but he is also kind of dreaming about having a pool and this woman he met in the in the shop. don't know if there are many movies like this, because this is a straight up Christmas film, but it's got so many. It's like a hangover movie essentially.
Yes.
But with with a lot of Christmas motifs there. I think by the end, this movie kind of turns around, and it kind of shows the kind of nice face, or maybe prettier face of Billy Bob Thornton's character, who plays that, kind of Santa Claus that's involved in many different things, not only in giving presents to kids. But I remember when I watched it for the very first time, and it stuck with me. This is a movie who people like, who maybe have a different sense of humor and maybe just need something else to watch over Christmas. This might be a perfect film. I actually love it. Tell me, of watching it fresh, how did it kind of feel, and how did it?
No, sorry,
kind of
I didn't watch it. I seen it like listed somewhere. Like I seen it listed as on like I was flicking through Christmas movies. And I seen it listed, and I was like, "That's gotta be one of Rado's." I don't like Bad Santa at all. I think I've seen it maybe twice. So the fact that it's above Home Alone is actually disgusting. But yeah, there's something about it. I don't know what it is exactly. It's not that it's like this sort of adult humor to it, because I think that there is space for movies like that in and around Christmas that kind of take that like sort of like. That just put that little bit of an edge on it, and maybe in some cases expose it for what it really is as well at times. But I kind of liken it to Train Spotting, for me, right? There's this category of movies where. I've never seen all of Train Spotting. I should be clear. I've seen like the first 20 minutes of it. And when I watched that first 20 minutes, I just knew, I was like, this isn't something I want to watch. This is just, it's just something about it, and I just don't really vibe with or something. I don't know. It just doesn't sit well with me. I just immediately feel uncomfortable. It's like, everything is like dirty, as in like disgusting, like, it's all drugs, and like everybody's a low life in it, and I'm like, hey, I don't know, there's sometimes stuff like that. I'm like, I don't think that there's really, I just don't think I want to. I don't want that to be in my Christmas rotation.
I think this movie, obviously you have all those motifs you just mentioned, but this movie has a heart. Towards the end, it has a heart, and not everyone is a saint, and that's, I think, why people go back to this film, because it's not utterly filth. It is filth. It is humor. It is adult humor, but it also has a heart. And for me, that's why, movies like that win. And this is Bad Santa. This is number 4 on my list. Higher than Home Alone. Yes, higher than Home Alone. Conor.
Oh, okay. I am going to go with my number 4 as Miracle on 34th Street. 1994 with Richard Attenborough.
So you're talking about the new version, right? 1934, did you say?
1994.
1994, okay.
This was another movie. I don't think I seen Miracle on 34th Street until I was maybe like 10 or 11. And it was like, I have a very like vivid memory of it, where I just was like laying on the sofa, and it was maybe Christmas afternoon. So it was kind of after the sort of like festivities had sort of settled a little bit, and people were around the house doing other things. Like my sister was probably playing with their like new toys and stuff like that. And I remember this came on TV, and I was just like, whatever. I'm kind of tired. I'm not going to change the channel. The remote is already too far away. So I just let it play, and I remember feeling like so pleasantly surprised by it, because it just was a very, very charming movie. And I think that Mara Wilson and Richard Attenborough have such a fantastic chemistry in it, as him playing, like a secret version of Santa Claus, but yet very much obviously Santa Claus, and her playing a skeptic and a doubter and someone who doesn't believe in him. And it's definitely a children's movie for sure, but there's something about it that just captured a really, really nice essence of Christmas for me. And most of it comes down to the great sort of chemistry between, I would say, all of the cast for that matter. It's not just them two, but them two for me stand out so much in my memory when I think back to it. Have you seen this movie?
No.
Oh my God. Well, there's one for you to watch this Christmas. That's the point in this podcast, Rado.
Is there
no drugs?
Is there any shooting in this film?
No shooting, no.
Is there swearing?
Oh, actually, there may be. No, I don't think there is. No, there's no shooting, actually, now that I think about it. No swearing.
No, I'm not watching that.
There's a small event of violence in the movie. Very, very small, and I just got mistaken there with it and the scene in The Amazing Spider-Man where Uncle Ben gets killed. That's I was conflating the two. Okay, so Miracle 34th Street is my number 4. I think it is a great Christmas movie, and I
should be like number 6 or something.
Top 5. This is a movie that has been remade multiple times, by the way, and I think maybe even is just about or just has got another release as well from someone else, I think. But anyway, in my mind, the 1994 one is the definitive version.
Yeah.
Also written by and produced by none other
Chris Nolan.
John Hughes.
There you go. Quality movies there. Maybe
he had something going on.
Maybe I watch it. Maybe I don't. Probably not. I've got other films to watch. Conor. Okay, so let's go to my number 3 film of best Christmas movie of all times ever made. And this is Last Christmas.
Last Christmas.
I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. Do you remember that? No. So this is a 2019 movie, Conor, directed by Paul Feig. Also called one of the worst movies ever made, or one of the worst Christmas movies ever made.
Look, okay, it's not my fault.
I bet nothing's ever your fault, is it, darling?
What?
You have thrown away your life working in some silly Christmas shop.
Baby, don't cry.
Hey, Elf! This is my little helper. I have nicknamed her Lazy the Elf because she appears never to work.
Father, if only Christmas get me out of here.
What?
Jesus. Where'd you come from?
Well, what are you looking at?
Might be a falcon.
Oh, damn it.
I think you just pooed in your eye.
Yeah, I think so.
It's good luck, you know.
What is?
Getting pooed on by birds.
I'm busy, you're weird. Goodbye.
You've missed 5 doctor's appointments. Mum is scared.
So, tell me about sleep.
She never sleeps.
Exercise?
Religiously.
Not at all.
Alcohol?
Oh, she's drinking like the pirate.
Well, okay, fine. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much for your time. Let's go, Mum.
Oh, you! Again.
What do you mean again?
Did you follow me here?
Are elves always so cynical?
Yes, relentlessly. These are dark times.
I'm Tom.
Kate?
So why is this film on my number 3 list? Because it's a comedy, it's a romance, it's got great actors, it's got Emma Thompson in there, it's got Emilia Clarke in there. You probably never seen this film because it's not your cup of your tea, right?
Yeah, no, I know the movie you're talking about, and I remember seeing stuff about it because they filmed it in London.
They filmed it actually in Covent Garden. So back in the days, I would be going to work, and I think it was 2018 when they were filming it, and I was going to work, and I see a big crew of people, and I'm like, oh, they filming something, probably like something for TV, whatever. Next year, Last Christmas is out, and I'm looking at them, says this is where the shop is. So there is essentially a place when the character is working in a shop, and I'm like, oh my god, this is incredible. And as much as I'm not a fan of kind of romantic films or romantic comedies altogether, but I think this movie This movie has something that despite my initial reaction, I'm gonna go back to it. And this is also kudos to my girlfriend. She loves that film. She enjoys that film much more than I do. If you're looking for something new to watch, I don't want to be watching the same Christmas movie all over again. Last Christmas might be your choice, and I think in a few years this is gonna be treated as a classic Christmas film. And this is Last Christmas as my choice. And Conor says no, but hey.
Definitely not. I don't think you're the only person I know who's actually watched this movie, so I don't think that this will be a Christmas classic.
Yeah, all your Disney and Marvel colleagues, they never probably gonna watch this film. But hey, I tell you what, their girlfriends, they will.
Never watched this movie.
Oh, she will love this film. She will love this movie.
Maybe so, but I'm still skeptical, and I'm even more furious now in a way that Home Alone was so far down your list. I still don't think I'm going to get over it. We're going to have to re-record in 2021 the definitive Christmas list, and I'm going first this time.
Get over it. Get over it.
So was that your number 3?
That was my number 3. This is Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave me something else away.
I like that it says on Wikipedia, based on Last Christmas by George Michael. They managed to extend that song into a full feature-length 103 long minute movie.
I mean, this is an absurdity of this film. Essentially, the first line of this of the song is the movie. It's the movie. That's all that I'm gonna say. It's so brilliant in a way,
So what's happened with Paul Feig?
What do you mean?
He went. He seems to have went from absolutely murdering it, Bridesmaids, The Heat, even Spy, to then Ghostbusters.
Decent film, decent movie.
A Simple Favor.
A Simple Favor.
Terrible.
Great.
No. No. I haven't seen it. I just remember people being
So why are you judging the film that you've never watched?
No, Paul Feig, he's cancelled. He's out of here.
No. You should. Like what happened last year when his film came out and had 1-star reviews across the board. Paul Feig went on Twitter and said, "Thank you for watching the film. We don't you didn't enjoy it. That's fine. Life goes on." And that was like an incredible reaction from someone, who was like not angry, not anything, just, kind of acknowledging it. And people who actually went to the cinema and watched the film reacted completely different. And, this is again, one of those situations where the normal audience has the ultimate voice in in that. And I'm going to give it this. That's why I'm giving it to regular people who watch films, who enjoy films like that.
I don't know. Anyway, my number 3, Rado. The Muppets Christmas Carol.
Oh, what's this?
Did you want this on your list? Did you have this on your
Yeah,
list?
I have it in my backup list, yeah.
Your backup list. What a stinker. This movie is amazing. So it is.
Well, it's got Muppets, it's got Christmas Carol. What else do you need, right?
It is one of those things, right, where it's like this was a stroke of genius to take like this kind of classic tale and then put the Muppets in it. The puppeteering is of course incredible as always. The storytelling is amazing as always, and having all of kind of the faces that you would know play these sort of like kind of classic like English characters all of a sudden. It's just there's something about it that's so sort of charming, and then the music in it as well. I'm gonna hit you with a little impression here, Rado.
Oh no!
There's only one more sleep till Christmas.
That's actually pretty good.
That's my Kermit and his there's only one more sleep until Christmas. I think he plays in it Bob Cratchit, which is just it's just amazing.
Ah, humbug.
He was the greediest man alive.
It's Ebenezer Scrooge.
Until the night he met someone extraordinary.
Hello.
The Muppet Christmas Carol.
I'll drink to Mr. Scrooge, even though he is odious, stingy, and badly dressed.
Humbug.
Oh, there goes Mr. Humbug. There goes Mr. Grin.
Do you think it's safe for us to be up here?
If they gave a prize for being mean, the winner would be him.
Yes, Mr. Cratchit.
If you please, Mr. Scrooge, the bookkeeping staff would like to have an extra shovel full of coal for the fire.
We're such a frozen.
How would the bookkeepers like to be suddenly unemployed?
Heat wave. Oi! This is my island in the sun. Oi, oi.
It's Charles Dickens' classic tale, as only the Muppets can tell it.
It's good to be heckling again. It's good to be doing anything again.
Filled with holiday warmth
Hey, like the lamp, not the rat, like the lamp, not the rat.
and Christmas spirit.
Jacob Marley?
Oh, that's scary stuff. Hey, should we be worried about the kids in the audience?
No, it's all right. This is culture.
Michael Caine as Ebenezer Scrooge, incredible, like just
Yeah,
perfect in it.
what a casting,
he is.
right? What a
yeah,
casting.
just unbelievable because he does have that like range where he can just be so unlikable as well, you know, because he is that like kind of like stern old Englishman. But yet by the end of it, he portrays that sort of, you know, like after going through everything that he goes through, that sort of warmth that he kind of portrays at the end of the movie is just like it just feels so like, how did he get to these two extremes and pull them off so well? Really, really great. And then you have to give this movie, I think, like bonus credit as well, because so much of, I think, our idea of what Christmas is comes from Charles Dickens, right? Like that whole like sort of like small kind of cottage style or like Victorian style house with the snow everywhere and the lanterns, and it's lit by fire, and it's like the, you know, like the kids are playing on the cold in the street, like that sort of picturesque view of Christmas is so much painted by Charles Dickens' books. So to take all of that and then to put in Muppets characters in the middle of it all is just perfect. It's so good. Absolutely love the Muppets Christmas Carol.
How many times have you seen this film?
Honestly, it's one of those things I just don't know. I couldn't tell you. Like it could very well be almost every Christmas since I was 5 or 6. You know, like it because I don't always go and put it on, but again, it's one of those movies that is always playing at some point over Christmas, so you will catch a part of it, or you'll hear the music coming from the other room, or you will sit down and watch it all. So I couldn't actually say like how long or how many times I've seen it. Too many.
You love it so
Not
much,
enough.
right? Yeah.
It's a great movie, yeah.
Absolutely no discussion about whether it's great or not. It just whether it's supposed to be that high in our list. Joke. So this is Conor's choice, Muppets Christmas Carol, on his number 3. So, you know, I understand what you're saying there, Conor. You know, the films about Christmas should have this kind of magic element about it. They should portray ideal places, a lot of snow, and probably like English cottage kind of a view or something like this, and have furry animals in there. But I prefer realistic movies. What's more realistic than you, for example, going to pick up your wife from the airport?
At the Nakatomi Plaza. No.
No.
At the airport. Oh.
Listen. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So you going to pick up your wife from the airport in Washington, and you know it's Christmas, so everyone's rushing. Everyone's want to get somewhere. There is a big storm coming, but there's a bigger storm coming. The terrorists. And what do you do if you are John McClane and you have a beautiful Christmas sweater, almost a Christmas jumper on you, and you have a gun and a badge, and you just start killing those motherfucking terrorists. That's what you do. So my number 2, almost an ultimate Christmas movie, is Die Hard 2, Die Harder. And I know what you're gonna say, like, wait, what about Die Hard? I think Die Harder is a better film and much more Christmassy than you think it can be. So, and not only, like I mentioned, it has a lot of people rushing for home for Christmas, but also has a Christmas decorations on the airport. Christmas is mentioned several times, and what kind of better way of uniting the family than killing a lot of bad guys and getting the plane back on the ground, as it should do. I watched this film recently, and I have to say I was so surprised how this movie combines Christmas spirit, a lot of shooting, a lot of explosions, and it's self-referential as well. Like at some point, Bruce Willis asked himself, how many times this same thing can happen to the same guy the same time of the year? And this is Die Hard 2. Have you seen this movie, and why were you so upset when I mentioned the title?
Well, I may have shown my hand a little too soon then for what is coming later on my list, of course. I do love Die Hard 2, but I just never watched it as much as I would have watched Die Hard 1. I don't know, I just didn't find it quite as enjoyable, so it never really made its way into any sort of like rotation.
I think this is the dark horse of Christmas movies. It's underrated because everyone's talking about the first one. The second one is actually much more Christmassy than the first one for me, and I wanted to be a little bit rogue, as I always am, and I wanted to put this movie quite high. So this is my second choice, and it's much higher than Home Alone.
Well, yeah, no, it's not. But look, at the end of the day, I think that this kind of what we talked about in the pre-show, I feel like the first of the two, or of the 6 or whatever we're at now, is one of those ones that it isn't outwardly a Christmas movie, whereas number 2 seemed to embrace more that it wanted to be a Christmas sort of themed movie. I might watch that soon, actually, just because I really haven't seen it in a long time, and I feel like I would be doing it a disservice to say that it's not that good or anything, because I do remember really liking it. I just remember thinking it just wasn't as good as the first one. It just didn't have the same kind of catch or its hooks in me as the first one.
I want to hear your number 2, Connor.
Okay, my number 2.
Sorry, that sounded so wrong. I don't want to hear your number 2. I want to hear what's on your on the second place on your list. Maybe that's better.
I'm gonna go with a movie that is not necessarily a good movie, but it is a good Christmas movie, and it does again hold a very kind of special place to me as something that you've seen when you were very young. I remember seeing it for the first time actually in school, kind of as it came up to the end of the year, and the teachers were like, I can't be bothered with this anymore, so they just wheel in like a CRT TV and put a tape on and be like, yeah, you're just watching movies today. The only good days of school, actually, the days where you didn't do anything and you got to watch a movie. And mine is 1996's Jingle All the Way, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. I love your excitement as it went up there, and then the crash that you heard afterward. I seen it happen across your face as I said that.
Every holiday season, there's one toy everyone has to have.
I want the Turbo Man action figure with the arms and legs that move, and the rock and roll jetpack, and the boomerang shooter.
Getting it is every child's dream.
Whoever doesn't can be a real loser.
Finding it
You got the doll, right?
is this father's nightmare.
I'll get that toy. I promise.
Whoa! Nothing like waiting until the last minute, Howard, sir.
Especially on Christmas Eve.
They're all gone.
These two are
Where's your Christmas spirit?
The last one just left.
Now, it's two fathers.
This is war.
One mission.
Oh, poor baby.
And every man for himself.
I'm thinking maybe, we could join up as a team. Like Starsky and Hutch.
We're in late delivery of Turbo Man at Toy Works. Let's go.
Is there a problem, officer?
You can never do too much to make a child's Christmas magical.
1996's Jingle All the Way is a brilliant Christmas movie. It's the story of a dad who is a bit of a deadbeat dad, let's be honest, but he is also Arnold Schwarzenegger, so he's very preoccupied with doing a lot of like saving the world and killing predators and stuff like that. So he should be given a little bit of slack. And his wife is just too harsh on him in it, I think. She's not really. He's really is like a deadbeat dad. And he is supposed to get his son, played by a young Anakin Skywalker, and Jake Lloyd, and he has to get him the only Christmas present that he wants based off a cartoon or a TV show that he watches, and it's a Turbo Man toy. But he leaves it too late, and Turbo Man toys are now incredibly hard to get. So he ends up going on like a whirlwind kind of ride around the city trying to get a Turbo Man as they pop up in different shops, or as they are in like given away on like radio contests and stuff like that, and he's trying to steal them. And then of course he still gets to fulfill his role as a superhero, Arnold Schwarzenegger, of course, when he gets to don the Turbo Man suit at the end of the movie. This is a great movie. Sinbad is incredible in it. He plays like a postal worker who is also trying to get his son a Turbo Man toy, and has to is getting in the way of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and goes to some quite extremes. Like at one point, he calls in a bomb threat.
A what?
Based on a
bomb threat?
A bomb threat
Bomb
based
threat,
on
right.
a package that he has just in his postal bag. Which is quite drastic, to be honest with you. I think that's quite the hard way to go, I think. Yeah, great movie. Definitely deserves its place, as I think, in the Christmas kind of classics.
So you went rogue as well, a little bit. This is not something I expected, actually. But yeah, I don't remember watching it at all. I might have seen it,
okay.
but maybe it just slipped my mind, And shall I watch it again? Probably not. Thanks for the recommendation anyway, Connor. Cool. So before I say gonna go to number one, I'll give you a chance. Maybe let's throw in together maybe some rogue movies we did not mention. Gremlins, is that a Christmas movie?
It is to a lot of people. I'm not overly familiar with it, so I've maybe only seen it like once. I don't think I've seen it at Christmas, and I didn't. So it doesn't have a place for me on my Christmas list, but I know that may be egregious to a lot of other people. And quite frankly, I don't care.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I probably would put it somewhere higher if I could. Jack Frost.
Michael Keaton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, not a good
actually
movie. Not a good movie, but definitely a Christmas movie.
Another one that I first seen in I have very vivid memories of seeing it in school for the first time at Christmas, and when I was very, very young in school. So don't remember much more about it other than it looked good. It was Michael Keaton.
What are we thinking about Home Alone 2, Lost in New York?
It had definitely was a notable shout out for me. Like I did consider putting it in there. And sometimes I think about it a lot too, because there's this sequence in it like that kind of plays out where he meets the woman in the park, right? And as a kid, you just sort of think like, oh, it's just a person in a park that he's friends with, and like they are a bit strange, and they kind of like have all the pigeons and the, things like that, and you don't think too much of it. But then as you kind of get older, you kind of get the idea that she is homeless, right? Which is such a strong narrative thread to run through that movie, because homeless people are so often overlooked at Christmas, as we are talking about that picturesque, like Charles Dickens sort of fantasy of like everybody in their homes around the fire and they're all having a big nice warm meal, and it's like, you know, they've got together, whatever, even if they're, you know, they're poor, like the Cratchits in A Christmas Carol, like they come together through with their family, and that's all it really takes for Christmas. Like it's an incredibly sad time of year for many people. So whenever you get older and you kind of reflect back at Home Alone 2, or you watch it and you realize the sort of strength of that story that they're telling there, like all that it really means to her, like, you know, is just a friendship. Like you know, she's not having like a big fancy dinner or something at the end of it, or, you know, it's just that like he meets her and he gives her the other turtle dove off the Christmas tree. And it's such a nice story that kind of is such a nice thread that runs through the kind of the backbone of that movie, because obviously it's a goofy movie and it's still about family, and it's still about, like, you know, the wet bandits now coming back to get revenge on Kevin, and him still managing to kind of put them through the ringer in all of the kind of comedic ways that he does, and some of them are so funny, but just that little subtle story that runs through it. The only thing you'd have to knock it down for is Big Don Trump.
Yeah,
it's a cameo appearance in it. So yeah, that's, you're like, nah, pass.
Yeah. I think this movie kind of lost its charm a little bit, thanks to that. So we asked about some Christmas recommendations. I've got a list from one of our friends of the show and listeners, David, who. When I surprised him with that question, he gave me 4 titles here. Love Actually, Miracle on 34th Street, and he mentioned the remake, so the same one as you did. He also mentions
David.
Die Hard, and he mentions Christmas Every Day, which I don't know what that exactly is, but I'm happy to.
I'm not familiar with that at all, actually.
Yeah, he said that was like sort of a guilty pleasure watch.
Okay, fair enough. That's maybe then why.
I wanted to add one thing. You know, like maybe you know, maybe you don't, but we do have like in Poland kind of a local variation on Christmas movies or Christmas films, and I try to think what would be like the biggest title we've ever had in Poland. And there's a series of films, probably very, very inspired by Love Actually, called Letters to Santa. And there was at least 3 films from that. And this is all like different characters and connected to each other, different stories set in modern Poland. Romantic, moving, funny, everything that Love Actually had, but set in our local environment, from a director that made so many popular movies. Like people would just go to watch those films like crazy. So this is Letters from Santa, and I think you can find some of them. I still want to watch a movie called Silent Night, and this is a movie that's available right now on Amazon Prime, and it's a film set during Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is quite important in Polish tradition, when you meet with your family and you kind of discuss nice things and maybe not so nice things as well. You probably know this, you know, the Christmas dinner kind of situation.
Number 1, I would have to probably give a shout out to Love Actually as well. It is a good Christmas movie. It is enjoyable. The only thing I don't like it for is when they do the Mariah Carey kind of cover at the end of it, because I don't really like that Christmas song, and then that sequence in the movie is very irritating as well as a result of it. But other than that, a good movie. I have to give another shout out to The Grinch.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey, brilliant movie. Haven't seen it in a long time, but I really, really, really enjoy it. And then my sort of like local, the what I was just thinking about, as I was a million miles away, was a local special thing for us here. And this is, I mentioned to you before the show, like this was either going to be on my number 1 spot or not on my list at all. And I didn't put it on the list at all because I didn't feel like it qualified as a movie, is the main reason why. But it is just one of my favorite things to watch at Christmas. Would you have any guesses what it was?
Is it local? Local, you say, right?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be those about toys things that
No,
okay.
yeah, not that. That's a fair guess. It is not the Late Toy Show.
I don't know then.
It is A Christmassy Ted. The Christmas special of Father Ted.
I think yes, we're not discussing TV shows here, but I take it here. Yeah.
So good. It is so good as all of the priests find themselves accidentally in the largest lingerie section in all of Ireland. And the scandal that may ensue if they get caught. It's just absolute quality. It is just total gold. I love it so much, and I cannot wait. I've been actually rewatching through Father Ted at the minute on Channel 4 so that I can get to the Christmas special. It is one of the sort of final episodes of it, I think, as well. So so your number one.
My number one, I think you guessed it. You know, when we were discussing, this is what you're gonna probably put. Yeah, some black and white movie from 1946, directed by Frank Capra. And that's the movie I'm gonna choose. It's a Wonderful Life. 1946.
So predictable.
Yes, a 1946 movie directed by Frank Capra, and starring James Stewart as George Bailey, the man who is given up his dreams and he just wants to commit suicide. It's such a sad film.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Such a sad film. And, James Stewart on the bridge, snow is falling down. And then there is this guardian angel who's gonna... Clarence gonna show him his kind of life, how he affected the life in the future, in the past, and in the present. So a little bit like the Christmas Carol.
A wee bit, yeah.
And but this movie, I remember when I first watched it, I cried, and I was a grown man back then. I cried the tears of joy, and then I watched it again a few years later, and then I cried again. And every time I watch this movie and I see the scenes from it, at the very, very end when you hear the bells ring and there's an angel, he's getting his wings. I think this is the most wonderful.
Angel gets his wings.
Yeah, I think this is the most wonderful Christmas movie ever made. And please change my mind.
Well, who are you? I told you, George, I'm your guardian angel.
What is it you want, Barry? You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Welcome home, Mr. Bailey.
Sentimental hogwash. I wish I had $1 million. Hot dog! Mr. and Mrs. Martini, welcome home.
This is what I wished for.
You see, George, you really had a wonderful life.
No, I this again was on my list of like this was going to be on my like notable or noteworthy mentions. And again, I know this is one of those ones that I feel like a lot of people would be very annoyed if we had have entirely left it off the list. Like, people would be like, "Oh, how could you not have It's a Wonderful Life?" It's one of those like, top 10 Christmas movies or top 100 Christmas movies, and it's right up there every single time. But for me, it's just that I just don't have that kind of point of reference for it, watching it young or anything like that. I did watch it when I was older. I really liked it. I thought it was great, but I just never had the desire to go back and watch it again. And because I didn't see it when I was younger, it just didn't have that sort of that sort of special place for me. So that's why it didn't make my list at all. And I was thinking Rado may have this. He does. Like, he was, like 3 years old whenever it came out. So, it may be a very special place for him after watching it for all those years and still crying.
Still. I mean, there are two versions. I just want to say, a few years ago, someone came up with a brilliant idea to put this movie into color, to colorize it, and just to make sure that people like Conor, who don't like black and white films, will watch it.
Nope.
I'm joking.
Spoke about Mank.
Yeah, I know. And please just be aware, the colorized version is just not as good as the original black and white. And right now, Conor actually showed that to me, but I also can find the information. Last year, this movie was released in 4K. HD Dolby Vision. So you can watch it in the best quality that this movie can be watched on your TV screen if you don't want to go to the cinema. So this is It's a Wonderful Life movie by Frank Capra. It's my number one. And end of story. Thank you. Bye. No, I was sorry. Forgot about you, Conor.
Yippee-ki-yay, Rado, number one. Fucking Die Hard. You kidding me?
Walk out of here or be carried out. But have no illusions, we are in charge.
Think, damn it, think. We've got a fire alarm.
I thought I told all of you I want radio silence.
Sorry, I didn't get that message. Mayday, terrorists have seized the Nakatomi Plaza.
This channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
Do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
Possible crane call. Check the area, confirm.
No signs of disturbance, dispatch.
Welcome to the party, pal!
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay.
You hang in there.
Come out to the coast. We'll get together, have a few laughs.
Die Hard, Die Hard, Die Hard.
No.
It's I'm putting it in there. I think you've graciously left it off your list, knowing that I would probably want to put it in there. And I was worried. I thought you were going there whenever you mentioned about going to pick up your wife or whatever. And I was like, not the Nakatomi Plaza. Alas, it was not the Nakatomi Plaza that you went to. But I'm gonna go there. And I think Die Hard is a fantastic Christmas movie. It has just the right amount of Christmas. Like, I feel like any less in this and it wouldn't be a Christmas movie. But, you know, having the Christmas party at the Nakatomi Plaza, you have the kind of general feeling of like the city kind of closing down, like the way that they are up so high in the tower. I know it's being kind of constructed, but you know, the tower feels empty. Doesn't feel like there's anybody else in it. It doesn't really feel like there's anybody else around it, which gives you that real feeling that everybody has essentially gone home for Christmas. And the same with John arriving at the start. And what I love about this movie is that it sets up everything that it needs to set up within sort of 5 minutes of the movie. Right, so you get John coming in, and you get little subtle things like the guy telling him about taking his shoes off and making fists with his feet, right? And he gets it as soon as he gets into like Holly's office. He takes his shoes off and he's like making fists. He's like a son of a bitch, and then that comes back later on to bite him, as he's having to stand, like run over the glass in his bare feet because he took his shoes off earlier on. Yeah. You get introduced to the fact that he's carrying a gun at the start, and that he's actually a cop. And then you get introduced to Holly. You get introduced to one of my favorite characters, who is Ellis, who is Donald Trump Jr. in my mind. He's the same person. He's this fucking idiot. And then you start to see like the big trucks kind of roll in over the sunrise as the terrorists kind of move in on the plaza with the incredible Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber.
Yeah,
and,
classic.
He is a fantastic villain in this because he's not necessarily a violent man in his own way. He is calculated, he is cold, he is one step ahead of everybody. We get a shout out to the IRA as well at one point, if you remember, as he's making his list of demands, trying to throw off the FBI, and he gives a shout out to like the six members of the provisional IRA who are being held captive. And it is so like it sets everything up that it needs to in like 5 minutes, and then it just plays out from there. And you have Bruce Willis just being fantastic with all of the quips the whole way through it. And it is very much that everyman. Like, he doesn't feel like a superhero. He's not like super like muscular like a lot of other 80s actors were at that time, like your Arnold Schwarzeneggers or your Jean-Claude Van Damme's. He's just very much like a normal guy.
Yeah, that's a big change in Hollywood essentially that time. Yeah, end of the 80s.
And the little small touches as well, like like him in the white vest, and like gradually the vest gets like dirtier and bloodier as the movie progresses, like as he gets himself into more and more difficult situations. And then like the kind of sort of satellite characters that you have in it, like the cop and the news reporter whose name I'm forgetting, but he is just absolutely incredible as like a shitbag news reporter. Who kind of picks up that there's a terrorist event unfolding, and then you give the FBI guys that come along. Oh god, what's her name? Oh my god, something, no relation. Oh god, I love Die Hard. Not very long either.
It's about 2 hours. Yeah.
Is it Johnson, Big Johnson and Little Johnson? No relation. That's it. The two FBI guys, like, yeah, Big John. It looks like Johnson and Johnson, no relation. I like one of them's black and one of them's white. It's like, it's just so good.
Okay, Conor. I think we agree to disagree. I don't really think Die Hard deserves a place on that list, but
no.
Hey,
I'm gonna go a step further.
Yeah. It's a great film.
I think Die Hard is a perfect movie.
It is a perfect movie, but it's not a perfect Christmas movie. It's not It's a Wonderful Life, okay? And it's not even Muppet Christmas Carol. Let's be honest.
Yeah. No, I get it. And this was kind of, it is going back to our discussions at the start. I think that this movie just about crosses the line from being a movie set at Christmas to being a Christmas movie. I feel like there's just enough references, mainly the one where he sends the dead guy down the elevator with the Christmas hat on, and he's written on this with the blood on his shirt that says "Ho ho ho." Now I've got a machine gun. Read, of course, by Hans Gruber himself. Ho ho ho. Now I have a machine gun. And
oh my god, your impressions today are on point. Oh my god,
we're gonna do a spin-off podcast, Rado, where I just do impressions of things.
I bet you can do impression of me. Okay, so I'll have like a fun fact about the glass trap for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the glass trap is?
No.
It's a Polish title of Die Hard. So how many Die Hard movies there were? 4?
I think, what are we at, like 5? Maybe 6 now?
Yeah.
Like, there's way.
And how many of them have anything to do with the glass? Just one, right?
As far as I remember, yeah.
And every single movie since then were called in Poland The Glass Trap, because no one expected the Spanish Inquisition, that this series is gonna kind of keep on going, and whoever translated the title at the very beginning of the 90s did not have a clue that, they could do a better job than The Glass Trap. And then you have Die Hard 2, also The Glass Trap, and it's like, there's no glass in there. I remember watching this.
There's none at all.
I was like, why this movie is called The Glass Trap? It is not.
So The Glass Trap I can understand for 2 parts for the first one, right? Because obviously, big giant glass building.
And he walks, he doesn't have shoes, and he walks on glass pretty much everywhere, right? That was pretty, shoot the glass!
Yeah, we get shoot the glass. Great moment again from Hans. But also you get the part over the radio where someone says like, oh, there's glass all over the place. And John replies, glass? Who gives a shit about glass?
Okay.
This line is for emergencies only. No fucking shit, lady. You think I'm ordering a pizza? Fucking great, Rado. Number one on
Conor's list, and this is Die Hard, obviously. So we invite you to tell us we are wrong, tell us we are right, at BlockBusterspot on Twitter, or at DesignConor, or at Rado Folta. That's where we are. And we are waiting for your list before Christmas will start, or what you're going to watch during Christmas. What have you watched during Christmas? Or what movie are you never, ever going to watch again during Christmas? Hashtag Home Alone. Because how many times can you watch Christmas? I am quite old right now, and for half of my life, more than half, I've watched Christmas. I watch Home Alone every single year. I'm fed up with this movie. And that's us for today. Anything to add, Conor, to our sexy list? Naughty list?
No. Happy Christmas. We'll see you all Happy Christmas. We will see you all in the new year. I haven't even been drinking yet. and I can't get my words out. But yeah, we'll be back in the new year, I guess, with
more shenanigans.
More shenanigans. We'll have our best TV shows and best movies of 2020 for you to indulge in.
This is the Blockbusters podcast. Thank you for listening. Subscribe, rate, and recommend our show to your friends, to your enemies. We all deserve it. They all deserve it. Check out our website for all episodes at TheBlockBusters.net. You can find us on Twitter and on Letterboxd. I will link everything in our show notes. The theme music is by Scott Holmes, and you can find more of his work at scottholmesmusic.com. Artwork created by Conor Boyle and episode edited by myself. Find us on Apple Podcast and pretty much anywhere you're listening to podcasts from. Conor, have a great Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year.
You too.
Bye.
All right, goodbye. See you in the new year.
And like that, he's gone.
Come up with a plot now. Can you come up with a plot, or can we come up with a plot of an indie Christmas movie? Just the synopsis.
So this is a story of a single mother. She lives in rural America, and she's got like 2 kids. One of them is very sick, and she hooks up with this guy, and he seems to be nice at the beginning, but he turns out to be a douchebag. He's got a family, so she is kind of driven to almost suicide. And she ends up in.
Hold on, yeah, no. All right, so wait. What? How can we tie this in? There is a small but seemingly significant Christmas tree in the movie as well. That just sits in the background of the room, never illuminated, always just in dark. Like no one ever put Christmas lights on it, of course. And then at the end of the movie.
She meets another guy who is kind of, he's never been loved, and he's kind of like maybe a little bit slow, but he's got a big heart, and they.
I don't know, you sound like you're moving too far into romantic, like just like a rom-com Christmas movie.
No, it's anti-rom-com, because those people would never hook up with each other. You know, she's quite beautiful, but he's very ugly, and he's...
Still, I'm not thinking that this is indie enough. There's not something abstract enough here. So there's right. Like there has to be a single thing, like a decoration on the Christmas tree, and it's all we see repeatedly throughout the movie. What that decoration is just a tooth. It's a tooth on a piece of string, and we don't know why it's there or how it got there, but it's there, and it plays a significant part, because what it's representative of is that the enamel on the tooth, Rado, is her hard exterior, but underneath the enamel is the pearly white and beautiful soul. So even though she is, very much broken, because there's a chip in the tooth as well, she's very much broken, but she is in fact the tooth represents her. So at the end of the movie, as she puts her kids in the back of a car and burns the house down, the tooth is the last thing that we're left with amongst all of the ashes. The camera just pans in from the top of a hot air balloon. The camera pans for literally 27 minutes until it gets all the way down. An incredible shot, like a absolute incredible feat. To be
you got it. I think I've seen this shot before in one of the Polish movies. So,
and that's our indie movie.
Yeah, but just where is Christmas spirit in there? Where is love? She finds love? No, she doesn't. No, the guy she fell in love with, he dies. He's being shot by
in the car.
He's shot by the jealous lover who is dressed as a Santa Claus.
No, it's her putting the kids in the car and driving off to a better life, or so we can hope. Represented by burning the house down is her burning down everything else around her, putting her kids in the car and driving off. That is the spirit of Christmas in a nutshell. It is her looking after what is most important to her.
How did we get here? I have no idea.
sound like I will make this movie and have it out next year, and it will be your favorite Christmas movie. Your own movie will be your favorite Christmas movie.
If any producers out there want to turn this project into a movie, please contact us.